everybody. Can you hear me okay? Welcome to Conversations with Anasa. So let's meditate for a few minutes. So as we said last time, it's as easy as taking a deep breath and going into that inside us, which doesn't change. And then you feel for the highest best in you and ask to be shown what that is. Because we often underestimate what's available. And as that highest best begins to show itself to you, completely relax and allow yourself to become that. Then you can ask all parts within you that need to be healed to open to this healing. If you lose your concentration, just come back, asking for the highest best within you to show itself and to heal whatever needs to be healed. As we begin to bring our meditation to a close, ask this process to continue within you. This process of healing that which has yet to be met within ourselves. Again, touch into that highest best within us. And hold to that as you gently open your eyes, being in two places at once. How may we serve this morning? It's so nice to be with you. So, how is everybody? And how was that meditation? It's quite a bit different from what we've done in the past. How may we serve? Yes.
So about the meditation, it seemed more accessible, something that could be accessed during the day at any time, anywhere. And that's very helpful. It's kind of a portable meditation. That's what it seemed like to me. And go ahead.
Well, it seems like it cuts right to the essential.
Yes, that was it. That was it. And it seems like something that would be available. Recently, I've been noticing and responding to, but it keeps coming up, disappointment in myself and anxiety about lots of things, but anxious thoughts. And I recognize them and I say to them, let me know what you're about. But usually it's something that I can't do anything about directly. And so it's about my own attitude towards the thoughts that has to be worked with at this point. But the disappointment in myself, I feel as though I've been letting myself down. So this meditation is really good and helpful for encountering both the anxiety thoughts and the feelings of disappointment, for reaching for the highest and best. I lose touch with that during the day and upon awakening, even.
What if that disappointment has nothing to do with you? What if you just took that on from somebody else? Is that possible?
I can't readily identify the someone else that I took it, because I don't feel as though people in my life are disappointed with me at the moment.
And when they are disappointed with you in the moment, that usually doesn't cause you to reject yourself, does it?
No.
Isn't that interesting? But you have this global disappointment that you can't put your finger on exactly why you're disappointed. So maybe it's not yours. Try to let go of it as if it's not yours for a moment and see what happens. It's sticky out of habit, not because it's yours.
It seems to be countered by um, getting in touch with, well, asking for the highest and best in me. The disappointment seems as though it's about not accessing the highest and best
Exactly.
within.
Exactly. they can't both be there at the same time, can they?
The request to access highest and best and the disappointment can't be at the
Well,
same.
they are in the same field at all times, but we have a choice about which is primary. Everything is always available. Every particular attitude. It's just that we choose certain ones out of habit and out of quote unquote education. The education we got from our peers and elders about what's important that may or may not be true. But we assume it's true because somebody bigger and stronger told us it was.
For me recently, it's been about my ability to be loving in any given situation. I feel as though I'm not quite good at that. I'm not good at that. I mean, I can feel that there's a lot of potential, and that what it seems like is I'm not attaining that.
Well, we'll talk about this in a few ways. First of all, we think of loving as primarily being a nurturing motherly role. But that's not always what love is. Love has a lot to do with accepting a lot of harsh realities for ourselves and for other people.
How so?
Well, we have to come to peace with the fact that we're dying. That's the hardest one.
I've accepted it as a concept. um, and I've seen evidences of it in my physical self.
Well, this is where the healing of the anxiety really comes in. Because if you look at fear, every fear eventually boils down to fear of death. And if we look at anxiety as a variation on fear, then we could actually say that our anxiety is essentially about death and about what we fear happening between now and that moment.
That's it. That's where the fear is, the between time. I'm not as afraid of death, at least conceptually, as I am about the between times, from now until then times. A lot goes wrong.
Yeah, as we experience our friends and relatives and close ones facing death, we see it's not so easy. And these are facts that every day we get closer to the end or the new beginning.
In that in between time, I would like to be in touch with my highest and best and be a channel for love. That's really all I want.
The truth is that when we look inside ourselves, that statement is true for every human being, whether they know it or not. The lucky thing is that we all know it. So we can ask for it. And the interesting thing is that ask and you shall receive is true when we ask inside ourselves. What happens in the world has little to do with our own willpower. What happens inside us has everything to do with where we put our attention. And as we withdraw our desire to influence our world beyond a certain point, which happens naturally as we age and have less responsibility in the world, and generally want less responsibility in the world, we begin withdrawing our senses and our sensitivities to our inner. And then we understand the love truly is not outside of us that we care about. Love felt from the outside is nice, but it doesn't nourish the way love from the inside does. Temporarily it will. But in the quiet moments when we're really by ourselves, whether we're surrounded by others or not, in those quiet moments, the only love that truly satisfies is what we are able to experience inside of ourselves. To know that it's simply a matter of asking for the highest and not having a presumption of what that's going to feel like. Gives us an ever wider range of what love is and what's real about being a human being. But it also means we have to feel everything that's blocking that love for it to come through, which is why we naturally go to healing that which has not yet been met inside of ourselves, so that that highest best can show itself for what it is, unrestricted. We have no idea what unrestricted access might feel like. Until we begin allowing it. But when we go into our meditation with an idea of what love is going to feel like, we've already limited ourselves by a lot. All kinds of assumptions. So when we go inside and ask for the highest best, we do it with the sense of discovery, of awe that we had when we were children as we discovered the world outside of us. Our inside world, in many ways, has yet to be discovered. But when we ask for the highest best, as it begins to appear, that sense of awe becomes relevant again. As we allow the unimaginable to make itself felt.
I realized while you were speaking that something struck me, that the anxiety and the disappointment is about encountering the obstacles. Which seems like a non-productive way of encountering and responding to the obstacles.
When we understand that where we put our attention is what grows, then we more and more try to hold our attention on that which is the highest best within us. And when we allow ourselves to entertain the notion that we have yet to experience that, then we're on the threshold of something.
Yeah, I, at this moment, don't know what the highest and best within me is.
Hold to that as you ask for it. Hold to that understanding. Because there is always more. What our imagination can take us to is only what we've already experienced. We live in a kind of circular bubbled reality. Our imagination is limited to our past experience. So if we instead assume that the highest best within us is yet to be met in every meditation, it brings a whole new outlook to what this endeavor is about. We only meet the past as part of our effort to release that which is between us and the experience of ultimate reality, which is the highest best within us.
Would you say that last part again? I heard it intellectually, but I would like it to go deeper.
The problem with channeling is that putting something on repeat is not really possible. we've learned by trying before, it only goes one direction. It doesn't ever rewind.
Yeah, I get it.
The point is to concentrate on allowing something new to appear. And so we're talking about it as the highest best. Because we want to rewire ourselves to be tuned to the highest best, whatever that is. And it helps to assume that we don't know what that is on the front side. Otherwise, we're limiting the whole possibility. So to discover this late in the game that we don't know what it is exactly that we're searching for is a big relief. And it's really true that if we investigate our disappointments, they end up empty. They don't really. They take us to our wounds. And by concentrating on the highest best, and then asking that energy to heal our woundedness, we are directly addressing the obstructions we can't see. The walls that we're so used to that they're invisible to us. The reason it's hard for us to even think this way is because we don't have the pathways within us yet to live from this understanding. So you may have to listen to this recording a few times. We have always told you that spirituality is simple. It is. It's we who are complicated. We don't want it to be just a breath away. We want to earn it. We want to feel righteous in our grasping for love itself, for the highest best, for the ultimate that's available for a human being. We want it to be finite and graspable, and it is neither. It is as close as our breath. And in truly beginning to allow ourselves to be informed by the highest best, we're opening to something that we have never known before. What a relief. But the second we realize we have no control, we try to clamp it down. The way you know you're opening is by how your breath is flowing. If it's flowing into new parts of you, how amazing. A lot of us tend to leave our body in an effort to find peace. This is different from that. This is going in, not out. It's going in and inviting the highest from the deepest part of who and what we are on the inside. Because what is it that we want to change about ourselves? It's our access. We're feeling into the trickiness of the inner outer perception of a human as we are speaking. And we have to say it's all one thing. At the same time, we're so used to it being two things, and we live on one side of it or the other. It's truly one thing. Although we tend to view our perception as being related to the outer and our feeling as being related to the inner. But when we ask for the experience of the highest best, We circumvent the whole thing. Because we are not separate. We never have been. It is pure illusion. The illusion obscures the reality. But we circumvent the whole thing by asking for the experience of the highest best. This is such a clear way to invoke transformation. How may we serve further? Mhm. Please.
Good morning. Yeah, that was great conversation there. I've been going through a lot of similar feelings myself of a lot of fear, and I've had some health issues and whatnot. But as we're talking, I believe what's at the root, as well as the discussion being so helpful, is my need for approval when going through this and just sensing into the deepest part of myself that isn't feeling whole, and my attention on that approval, even though it's obscured in me, and I've had awareness about it and also made a lot of changes around that, but it still is this wound. And but being able to just see that what is standing in my way, it's really been it's been obscuring feelings of although I have deep feelings in myself, but it is the one little burr that has been keeping me from seeing truthfully in myself and experiencing. It's been the one thing that's been in my way. I guess
And
I'm just speaking to that and realizing that.
who is it that doesn't approve?
Well, there's been, yeah, my sister that's been quite
Yeah, but
needy.
you don't really care about that.
Ah, well, it dives into something deeper. I do.
And
And that is something to give to myself.
well, what is it that her approval would give you that's authentic?
Oh, I know. It's been really a puzzle, and you're right, because I don't accept um that behavior from her. I know she's hurting, and there's very little I can do about it. But
You can do a lot in the Inasa temple.
yes,
And
true.
interestingly, as you do
Right.
that, your own approval ratings will go way up,
That's a good point.
which is really what you're interested in. You're interested
Yeah, it
in your
is.
own contact
Yes.
and in attempting to alert her to greater contact within herself.
Yes.
Your own contact will expand. This is
Yes.
what we learn over and over in the Inasa temple, is
Yes.
that in trying to heal others, we heal ourselves.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
our whole life expands from that experience.
Yeah. Yes, this is a very good point. Thank you for reminding me. And also, this whole thing about death has been really uh, stirring me up.
Well,
Um,
yes, as you know, as we age, we're experiencing more and more the difficulty of others and of ourselves as our
yeah,
health issues come up.
right.
And so, in a way, it distracts us, but it also makes it intensely valuable to
Hmm.
examine our fear.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
And embrace it.
Yeah.
It's legitimate.
Yeah. Really good topic. Thank you.
Oh, you're so
Thank you.
welcome.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
So welcome. We saw another hand out there. Yes. Oh, we need you to unmute. Oh, we're not hearing. Are you? Okay, I have a thing showing up on my screen. Might be the headset.
How's that?
Yes.
Okay. Except now I can't hear you.
Oh, no.
That's okay. Um, I just wanted to say that I love that meditation because it goes straight to the heart of the matter, which is really what I'm striving for, is that inner healing. And I appreciate the other people share because I have this idea that it needs to be difficult. It needs to be hard because my measure of accomplishment has always been if you work hard, you'll get the result. But you have to put the work in. And I see that that isn't necessarily the truth, which is a miracle. I so appreciate that. And I also wanted to say that I got my copy of Cured. And as I'm reading that book, I see that my family members that I have been so concerned about because they have these health problems, that really our health is a choice, our choice of lifestyle. How we live, our environment, what we eat, our health reflects all of that. So if that's their choice, it has nothing to do with me. And there's really nothing for me to do except go to the Anasa temple and wish them the highest and best. But, you know, I keep insisting, gee, I think there's something I ought to do to help this out. Just because, I don't know, that's just a habit, I suppose. So it's good for me to see that and let that go. So I appreciate. Thank you.
Mm. So grateful for that feedback. Can you hear?
Yes.
In focusing your attention on your own connection by allowing it to assume its real form, by asking for the highest best, which none of us knows the limits of that, and withdrawing the need to, the desire will always be there, but the need to have some input. In withdrawing that which others experience as an attempt to control, even though that has nothing to do with your intention. In withdrawing that energy, the potential that will be allowed to flourish in those situations cannot be seen at this point, but it will change. Maybe for the better, maybe for the worse, likely for the better.
How could it be the worse?
Exactly. Exactly. Freedom generally responds with expansion.
So are they going to feel abandoned if I'm not standing by to help all the time?
What do you think?
Well, in a perfect world, they would feel the love that I'm sending them through the Anasa temple, and they'll be fine.
Well, in that dimension, that is the perfect world. How long it takes for them to allow it to filter through is up to them. It has to do with how defended they are. But they're not defended from the highest best. That filters through. They are completely inoculated in this dimension to any input.
I'm noticing that some people are committed to their drama
Yes.
and they are really not open to anything else,
And
which is what I'm praying for.
that has nothing to do with us, except that they may experience our attempt to influence as they experience their resistance to, because they want to grasp at the drama. So in us letting go, they are forced to take responsibility for their own addiction to drama rather than holding on to it as a response to some input. So we've taken ourselves out of the equation as something for them to react to. And instead, we're putting our energy into the highest best for them. That only does good.
Better.
That's huge. That redirection of energy, you know, it's like taking a well and turning it into rainfall. I mean, it's completely a different event. There's no comparison to the quality that is brought forth from the highest best. To the
But
highest best
but if
in
all
them.
their energy is focused on their drama, are they going to sense that? I just feel like they're not open to it, and or maybe I'm embarrassingly, I think they're not capable of it.
Well, that's not anything we can do anything about. That's way over our pay grade. All we can do is rain the highest best on them.
Okay, I can do that.
Every time we think of them. And in doing that, you're changing yourself. That's the beauty of going to the Inasa temple. Every time we do it, we become more our highest best. And every time we take a deep breath and open to the highest best within us, some part of us will be healed. Because that is the nature of invoking the highest best. And it's good that we have no bigger definition for it than that.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you are so welcome. But you see, when we invoke the highest best, that keeps our mind off it.
Yeah. Busy ourselves in another realm.
Yes.
Good. I need that. It's a great, great direction.
We all do. Mm-hmm.
Hello.
Hi.
I just realized what a weight we put on ourselves. It's like we tether ourselves with this million-pound weight, trying to help people out, you know? It's got to be part of our own addiction. This seems to me, realizing in myself. Anyway, I just wanted to talk about the weight. It's just too much. That's
It
what
is too
seems.
much.
It's too much.
It is too
Yeah.
much. And when that's happening, that means that the boundaries are
Yeah.
challenged in
Yes.
some way that we're
Thank
not
you.
addressing.
Thank you. That's clear now to me.
Yes.
Thank you. Mm. Yeah.
And the boundaries begin to be appropriate when we realize that our best energy is spent in the Anasa temple. And that making
Yeah.
ourselves vulnerable to energies that may be overly stimulating or overly demanding of
Mhm.
what we actually have to offer
Yeah.
in a certain plane are better spent in the Anasa temple.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we politely excuse ourselves from those encounters which actually turn out to be harmful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Great
Because,
discussion today. Great.
yes, there's nothing that says that because somebody hands us negative energy, we have to respond. In some open way.
All right.
We can just let it go right on by.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, but that's not mine.
All right. Good point. Thank you. Great discussion this morning.
Yes, it helps to recognize the phone number of those who wish to unload on us.
Yeah.
We don't have to pick it up.
Thank you.
Mhm. Or we can choose our time if we feel like we still need to do that. Yes.
I just wanted to say, as a word of encouragement, that I just came out the other end of an incredibly dramatic person's hold on me, by visiting the Anasa temple with her and letting it go. I mean, completely letting it go. So trying to explain or help or anything just in this dimension. And at first I was wondering if that was abandonment, and as I got clearer and clearer, as you said, I felt healed. I was so sad about what was going on and what seemed like an enormous loss. This is a person who's maybe the closest to me, my daughter and my grandchildren. They were all involved in this drama. The kids were being held hostage until I fulfilled some demands. And I was just struggling and took it to the Anasa temple. It took several visits, and I got clear and I got to the love part, but the complete detachment. I am no longer being held hostage. And it took maybe a few months after that, and she showed up on our doorstep, which to me was a kind of a miracle. The relationship that we have now is rather detached, but it's good. It works for both of us, I think, and it's not your uh, typical picture of a mother and daughter relationship. It's more detached, but it is not full of toxic material anymore. So I just wanted to say the Anasa Temple works in those
Yes.
cases where direct contact is not working.
Congratulations on no longer being manipulated.
Thank you.
Yes.
Good morning. I wanted to thank all of you because I've been struggling in my life with quite a bit lately. And going back and forth in my head, should I take this to the Anasa Temple or not? And I came in here this morning going, well, after the class, should I take this into the Anasa Temple or not? And now here you are, all talking about how great the Anasa Temple's helped you. So thank you once again for answering my questions without me even having to ask them. I don't know how you all do it, but it happens every time you all ask or talk about something that's so relevant to me that I come in here thinking is so personal. And then I don't even have to open my mouth because you all do it for me. So it's such a sacred place to be. Thank you all so much.
Hmm. On that note, let's meditate. So beautiful being with you. So nourishing. So take your attention inside and ask, truly ask for the highest best. And the healing that brings to each of us. May each and every one of us connect to the highest best for ourselves and the whole. So much love to you all. Such a pleasure to be here. Thank you for coming. Bye for now. Till Wednesday and Sunday.